So with the roadmap being leaked, we now know that some of the future chapters are more than likely to be licensed. Let's talk about what it could be. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day and you're doing well. Yesterday was a pretty crazy day with tons and tons of things being leaked in the Dead by Daylight community. We had so much different pieces of information all circulating. I kind of took the day off to just kind of not really look at anything and just, keep my eyes shielded. Unfortunately for me, I just couldn't stop it. It's everywhere. It's too much. So I ended up getting spoiled with pretty much everything. That's fine. It's all right. That's what happens when leaks are out and about. With that being said, though, one of the things that did get leaked, which is the roadmap, showed us a little bit of a glimpse into the future. And with that, we can see some chapters are only paragraphs, as we like to call them. Dead by Daylight still officially calls them chapters, but we know one thing for sure. Whenever we're pretty much getting paragraphs, chances are it's going to be a licensed killer that they couldn't get the rights to the survivor of. With that being said, that really opens the door to a lot more speculation. So I want you guys to know that this isn't the chapter that's going to be coming out next, nor is it going to be the chapter that's coming out after that. This is way in the future. This is like a very, very far ways in the future, but we officially know that, hey, this is going to be licensed. So let's see what it's going to be about. So chapter 28, which is going to be our anniversary chapter, is going to be, all of the other stuff. I won't talk about it yet. We'll save it for tomorrow. Then the chapter that's coming out in August is just going to be a new killer, new survivor, still could potentially be licensed. We don't know much about it. The chapter after that, which is going to be coming out in November, is going to be a licensed killer. Now, this isn't 100% confirmed, but it's like 99.9% considering that we're not getting a new survivor with this, which leads everybody to believe that yes, this is licensed and it means they just didn't get the rights to the survivor. We can obviously take a look at killers like Leatherface, Pinhead, etc. that we didn't get any of these survivors with, but we got the license for the killer itself. With that being said, it opens the door to a lot of possibilities. Who would be coming in that wouldn't necessarily have the rights to certain survivors? So in my opinion, there's just really a couple of choices. One of them being Vecna from Stranger Things. This would be absolutely huge for Dead by Daylight and would probably time fairly well with the release of the new season of Stranger Things. Considering we already had a Stranger Things chapter in the game, it makes sense that they wouldn't bring in more survivors, but rather license skins as, it's easier to make and easier to sell. And then obviously we just get Vecna by himself. Makes a ton of sense in my opinion. And with all of the talks always being that Stranger Things is going to return and all the fake leaks and maybe even potentially real leaks at some point in time that just didn't make its way into Dead by Daylight during the right time frame, it makes a lot of sense that Vecna could be one of the major possibilities to come into the fog. Another thing on the list is the classic Candyman. Now, there are options where they can pick from in order to bring this into, DBD, but if they're working with the new licensors or the new movie, I should say, or maybe vice versa and working with the old stuff, then chances are they might not be able to get a survivor. So they decided to go strictly for the killer themselves, bringing in Candyman. I never really, in all honesty, thought that Candyman would ever make its way into the fog. I know there was a lot of hype and talk about it, which I think could have led even the devs to maybe take a second look at it and be like, maybe we could do something like this. So it could be rather interesting if that ends up making its way into the fog. It could make quite a lot of sense as well. So we have to wait and see. The next thing on my list is The Nun. I really like how much hype and speculation has been going on from The Nun. I'm not going to say that I was one of the only people advocating for The Nun to come into the game. However, I remember very vividly a very, very long time ago before, a lot of people were talking about The Nun. I'm sure there were others talking about it. I made a video basically saying, could The Nun be coming into Dead by Daylight? That video was all the way back in 2019, and one of the major reasons why I made the video was because not only were the teasers kind of alluding to some of the things that we were seeing, and I connected it to The Nun, but I was actively rewatching the entire Conjuring series and all of the different movies. Since that point to now, I feel like The Nun has really gained a lot of spotlight and a lot of attention. I remember even specifically 3 or 4 devs coming into my stream during that time and kind of laughing and being like, The Nun? Like, where did you get this from? From that point to now, it's really been out there. A lot of people have been really talking about The Nun. So I definitely could see something like that happening, and obviously with Ed and Lorraine being actual people that lived, sometimes DBD wouldn't be able to get the rights to cover them, and maybe, you know, whoever does have the rights, which I would assume would be their close family, kids, doesn't want them being in a video game where they're constantly being murdered. It could make sense that they could get just something else from the Conjuring series, which could be The Nun, as it also has some standalone credibility. On top of that, we also seen this in different surveys from Dead by Daylight in the past, so we know it's technically on their radar itself. So that definitely could be making its way into the VOG. Finally, last but not least, of course, you have to give the mention to this, and that is FNAF. Everyone has been talking about Springtrap for the longest time. Honestly, in my honest opinion, I don't think FNAF will ever come into Dead by Daylight. However, on the off chance that it does, we have to include it on this list. We know that there is a very easy connection that we can make now with Blumhouse, considering Dead by Daylight is making a movie with Jason Blum, and they also just recently put out, or are in the process of putting out, a FNAF movie. That being said, we know there's a really easy connection that can be made there, and I'm sure conversations could have been sparked and talked about, which includes Springtrap coming into DBD. With that being said, it would be rather difficult to pick just one person. If you're basing it on just the games, you can pick someone from there. If you're basing it off the movies, you can pick someone from there. I think Dead by Daylight might just go for a standalone type of deal if that were the case. However, with some of the controversies that still surround FNAF, I don't know if Dead by Daylight would even touch that or get anywhere near it, so we'll have to wait and see. That being said, though, that's pretty much my list of the killers that I think really fit this list. You know, the roadmap told us basically that we're going to be getting some of these things, which is cool. Obviously, after that as well, we are going to be getting a new survivor, which again can lead to a lot of different speculation as well. Some of the chapters that we've seen that were solo survivors, it's a 50-50 coin toss, right? We had Michaela coming in right after we got Ghostface, if I'm not mistaken. And she brought in her boons. It was really awesome. And we were like, whoa, we are really eating well as DBD players. And then now, obviously, we're getting the new chapter that's going to be coming out. And alongside with that, we're getting Nicolas Cage. So the solo survivor that could come out could be licensed, could be not licensed. It really does depend. I'm assuming that it probably, in my opinion, would be original. They're going to see how this Nicolas Cage DLC sells, which, considering how well it's trending and how much people have been talking about it, I assume that it's going to be doing really, really good. And they're going to be doing some more DLCs like this towards the future. So we have to wait and see. Nonetheless, that is pretty much my speculation on what the next chapter is going to be, coming out all the way down in November. We can expect something to be licensed. Looking forward to it, to say the least, and I'm pretty pumped up. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know who you think could be joining the FOG. Tomorrow is going to be the anniversary event, so stay tuned for that. We will be live on Twitch talking about every single thing. I'm also going to have update videos for you guys to let you guys know what's going on and to keep you guys well informed. That is pretty much going to do it for me. As always, I'm the King. Until my ground, see you guys, and we'll see you in the FOG.